one thing is undervaluing yourself and your service. And obviously that value that you give depends greatly on the quality of your photography. So, I'm not saying that a new photographer can just open shop and start charging the top high-end rates of things. But valuing yourself, which is just hard in general. It's hard for people to value themselves. People go to counseling for 10 years to be able to learn how to value themselves.
This is true.
And then the next thing is, I think the biggest thing, and this is the same for many of similar types of businesses, just the failure to see your business separate from yourself and what your business needs, and be realistic about how much revenue a business needs to generate in order to pay yourself a decent salary.
Mm-hmm.
And, in order to do that, you need to have a multifaceted business that is, not only, shooting great photos, but also delivering great products around that, have great marketing that feeds into that, have different styles of photography that feed each other. For example, like, if you have a wedding business, having a boudoir business is a really easy offshoot, because women want to do, they're getting in shape, they're getting in their best physical condition right before their wedding, so they look great in their wedding dress. Well, boom, here's a perfect time to do a boudoir shoot, for example. And then not everybody, but most people who get married 4 or 5 years later have a kid or two, family photography. So creating synergies around your business so that it works for itself, and playing the long game. So, those kids will be high school seniors 10 years down the road. So planning that high school senior photography.
Interesting.
Just really thinking of it as a business, and all of the revenue opportunities around there. For example, if someone is getting married, how easy is it to go to the mother and the father of the bride and say, hey, I know your daughter's getting married next September. I'm shooting their wedding. Once she is married, she's going to start her own family. How about we do a final family photo shoot of you and your family together, because that'll be the last time you guys are together as a nucleus family before she starts her own family.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely one of the things of it sounds like you're like seeing the entire picture as a life cycle, right? Not just looking at this one particular event, but looking at kind of the events that lead up to this, as well as the ones that come after it, is a very simple way of kind of turning one client into a repeat client, as opposed to trying to recapture, every wedding photographers. If that's all you do, you work hard for every single shoot. I mean, you think about commercial photography or commercial cinema or commercial anything. You get one client, that client generally comes back to you 20, 30, 40 times. So you can spend more to acquire the client. You can spend more time on the person. But if you're solely just a wedding photographer, you're spending every bit of time for that one day, that one shoot. Whereas following your system, you could turn this into, engagement, boudoir, wedding, family, then maternity, newborn, then family, family. I mean, you could turn this into easily 10 different repeat visits.
And, one of the things, when in a previous life, I also got an MBA, and one of the things that they teach you in business school,
I actually thought you meant previous life for just a second. I was like, okay.
Well, a previous life, I'm kind of losing track. But one of the things they teach you is that it's much more expensive to get a new customer than it is to get a current customer to give you more money.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. So long as that current customer is happy. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's, if your customers are not happy, then you got other issues.
You got some problems.
You need to take a step back and rethink things.
Yeah. One of the things that I see in the educational side, one of the biggest reasons I feel like any creative professional fails, and I think you hit on this when you said this applies to trainers, this applies to anybody who's working in a direct one-on-one type service where there's a low barrier to entry, where you
Mhm.
said the product that you're selling is you. I feel like that is one of the biggest reasons people fail is a failure to recognize what they're actually selling.
Mhm.
You know, photographers, so often they spend years fixated on the gear, on, you know, the quality of their photograph, on the perfect light, on, you
Mhm.
know, just obsessing over these details. And I'm sitting there trying to hammer home this message of like, while you're obsessing over these details that none of your clients can see, they're obsessing over this crappy experience that they're having in the process of working with you. And this
Yeah.
experience of like, you know, when you look at a photograph, what you attach to the quality of the image is the experience behind it. I think you taught me this lesson more than anybody. You sat in my studio 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, good
Do you
job,
remember that?
me. Well, I
Do you remember
remember
that?
sitting in your studio. I don't remember everything I said, but if it's something good, I will take credit for it.
You can fully take credit for this. Um, it was actually, I believe this was for a Fundy video that I did with you
Mhm.
guys, where you said, talk about your favorite photograph, bring your favorite photograph and speak on it. And I did. I brought
Yeah.
my favorite photograph. It was a picture of my father and I when I was a little kid, and we were at an air show. It had nothing to do with the quality of the image. I mean, it was a blurry shot. You know, the colors are horrible. You know, everything about it is not great from a
Yeah.
technical standpoint. But the memory was what made it a wonderful photograph.
Yeah.
And if the, you know, whether you're a creative professional, whether you're a photographer, whether you are a cinematographer, a, you know, trainer of athletes, if you come to the realization that what you're actually selling is you and the experience you're delivering, then your career path just completely transforms. Like you no longer fixate on these little details. Of course your product needs to be good, but you instead focus on this experience. And when clients walk
Mhm.
away with a great experience, they send you everybody that they know.
Yeah.
So that to me was one of these things that I felt like I learned from you several years back, and I see people repeating the mistakes over and over and over.
Yeah. And it's only somewhat related, but one of my good friends, Jason Marino, lives in a small
Hmm.
town in Arizona, and they sell really big wall art pieces.
Yeah.
And for quite a bit, I think his average sale is like $3,500, $4,000 or something like
Hmm.
that for a multi-piece wall art installation in their clients' homes. And when people hear those numbers, a lot of them are, well, my clients wouldn't pay that, or blah blah blah. You know, so I think his town is 30,000 people or something like that. It's
Yeah.
it's, it's
That's
not
not
a
a
big
huge town.
town in the
Yeah.
middle of Arizona. So no matter where you are, there are people who are willing to invest in their families, and you
Yeah.
don't need a lot of people to do that. But what's really key, and people forget about this, is if you start to get clients like that, clients bring their friends and family over, and the first thing they see on the wall is this big thing. They're like, "Oh, where did you get that?" And they're like, "Oh, Imagine Photography did that for us. Jason Joanne, let
Hmm.
me give you the number."
Hmm.
And so you get clients that want what you produce. And it's the same with the wedding albums. And you know, if uh, if you're not offering wedding albums, taking a step back and really, even starting this conversation with the blue zones and stuff like that, is I really like to take a giant holistic view of everything that I'm doing all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And so if we take a giant holistic view of, say, just offering wedding albums, is if you're producing beautiful weddings albums for your clients, you're going to get referrals 6 or 7 years down the road from those clients, because
Absolutely.
the new friend that they made saw their wedding albums, like, wow,
Yeah.
where'd you get this? I'm getting married too. I want one of those.